My name is Domingo, and I am a grateful recovering addict. I'm a Nehemiah alumni, and this is my beautiful daughter, Liliana Luna. Colonel Lewis came up to, called me up several weeks ago and asked if I thought that Lily might want to share a little bit from the child's perspective of what it's like to be a child of a parent from the men of Nehemiah. And I said, hey. Now, the excuse really that I used was, I don't know, she might be kind of shy, but really the truth is, I was kind of scared of what she might say. But I talked to her, and we spoke about it for a good long while, and man, there was zero hesitation. Right on. She just wanted to share. She just wanted to share with you guys like what God's done in her life, man, and what God's done in her life through me, and the reason why we're here. So me and Lewis talked, and we talked about like what we would say, and my favorite verse in the Bible, I picked it up at the minute of Nehemiah, nonetheless, is Nehemiah 13:2. And at the end of that verse, it says, however, God turned the curse into the blessing. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever struggled with the disease of addiction, but I can tell you that is a curse from the pits of hell. And so whenever we talked about that, I figured I would share with you just a little bit about the curse. And then Lily can share with you about the blessing. And so, man, I remember what it's like to be in active addiction. I remember what it's like to be in that curse, man. I remember what it's like to walk in that darkness. And as I'm walking in the darkness, my parenting skills weren't too good. Right on. I was a horrible father. Horrible. I don't even think the word horrible describes it. So I remember a couple of times. I remember being homeless with my children living in the van, right? And I remember looking in the rearview mirror and yelling at my son to lay down and go to sleep so I could get high, right? That's the type of father I was. I remember almost 8 years ago, right, on Christmas. This Christmas will be 8 years ago. It was 8 years ago. I remember being on the phone with Lily's mom. And I remember, it was Christmas Day. I remember begging and pleading her, please don't bring Lily to me. I'm in no condition. She doesn't need to be around me right now. And she brought her anyway. And Lewis told us all the time whenever I was at the men of Nehemiah, don't ever forget the pain, right? And that's the reason why I share this with you today. Don't ever forget the pain. The pain is what keeps me going. So I remember that Christmas morning, man. I remember Lily's mom brought Lily to me, and they came in the door, and they came into the back bedroom where I was trying to hide, and I remember the look on Lily's face, and I remember she grabbed onto her mom's leg with a Kung Fu death grip, and I had already been begging and pleading, please don't bring her. And she looked at her mom, and she said, Mommy, please, and she's 4. And she said, Mommy, please, don't make me stay here. That's the type of father I was. That's the curse of the disease of addiction. I decided to do something different with my life, and God brought me to the men of Nehemiah almost 8 years ago. And I tell you, at that beginning, at that verse that I read, the very beginning of it, however, God turned the curse into the blessing. Lily would like to share with you a little bit about the blessing.
Hi, I'm Lily, and I'm glad that my dad's in my life now because today we have a really great relationship. I was really too young to remember what my dad was like whenever I was young, before the men of Nehemiah, but I have heard the stories, and I'm happy that's not him today. There may have been a time in my life where I really didn't want to be around my dad, but today I get to spend a lot of time with him. Sometimes I get to go to work with him and I even get to help him. And that's taught me that my dad works very hard to provide for his family. My dad's influence spiritually has really impacted my life. For example, when I see a car accident, I stop whatever I'm doing to pray for them and their family. I like going to church with my family, but life isn't just work and church though. We also get to have so much fun together. One of my favorite things to do is camping. We also get to do many other things, like go to the Rangers game, go to the movies, or even just sit around and binge watch Andy Mack and Liv and Maddie together.
Act like I don't know who Andy Mack is.
We also get to go to Six Flags, even more often now that I talked my dad into season passes. Like I said, I'm proud of our relationship. I would like to thank the men in Nehemiah for teaching him to be the daddy that I needed him to be.
What an honor and a blessing it is to be in my daughter's life again, man. Honestly, I want to tell you thank you again for teaching me to be the man that I am today. For giving me the opportunity, not for kicking me out of the men of Nehemiah all those times when you probably should. We thank you. Thank the men of Nehemiah. Thank you, Gateway. We love you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Candace. I am a wife of a graduate of Men in Nehemiah. It's an honor to be up here. Thank you. It's an honor to be. It's an honor to be up here and speak as a wife's perspective for Nehemiah and how it changes families and lives. My route was a little different. I wasn't a sober wife. I took the same path as my husband. So when Matt and I met, it's very exciting. We were very young, dabbled in drugs. It came quickly, and as quickly as it came, so did the destruction and the demise and the stealing and the thievery, basically just everything that comes with the addiction. About 5 years into our relationship, I got pregnant. We still used. We used through my pregnancy. We used after my son was born. And ultimately that led to us losing Judah. We signed our rights over to my parents. And right after that, there was no looking back. There was no reason to be, in our minds, we were being responsible at that time. There was no reason to be responsible anymore. We were nowhere to go, no family, in and out of hotel rooms, doing all sorts of things for all kinds of wrong money. I'm sure you can use your imagination, but it was just abysmal. It was the absolute lowest place where God needs you to be on your face. And in that time, we both had to kind of look at each other and say, this isn't going to work. And we were so codependent. It was such a nasty codependency that I had to actually make the first move and say, man, we just signed the rights away to our kid. I've got to go. And I got on a plane, and I went to another discipleship recovery program out of state. And Matt went to a place called Homeward Bound. It's a detox. So I'm gone. I have no idea what's happening. My mom calls me. This is a few days before New Year's. My mom calls me on New Year's at my place. And she says, well, Matt's in a place. I said, yeah, I know he's at Homeward Bound. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I left that. She's like, no, he's at the Men in Nehemiah. You guys, the overwhelming feeling it was. just to know that he was somewhere, and somewhere safe. And funny enough, somewhere he said he would never go. Because I don't know if you guys have seen the Nehemiah video. There's PT, there's physical training, there's marching. That's not. So it was a little funny, but it was such a relief too. And it's funny because we were driving down here and we were listening to the radio, and Lauren Daigle's song Rescue came on, and there's a part that says, I will send out an army to find you. And that's exactly what happened. God sent an army to the church that my parents visited, and they met them in Nehemiah, and that's where Matt went because it was God's will. God sent that for him. It's been an amazing, I don't even know how to start to explain the difference in my husband. I have a husband, period. I don't have, I don't have somebody just to do crime or time with. I have somebody I can count on, and somebody I can rely on, and somebody that prays over me and pours into my life. And I used to get a little upset because his program was 9 months, which is a long time. Mine was a year. It's like, why? That's not fair. Well, God does that because he prepares these men. These men go out and get jobs. They go out and take responsibility, and they need that to be not only mighty men of God, but productive members of society too. And Nehemiah gives them that, prepares a way for their family to come in with family days. Some of that is men's just first glimpse of the restoration and their family. And when that alumni comes back, I love going back to Nehemiah because it gives the new guys who just walked in, it lets them see, hey, this is possible. This broken marriage, broken family is restored, fully restored. We don't have the rights back to Judah, but we see him anytime we want. We just had him this weekend. That's how good God is. God loves to pull out of the pit, and he pulls out of Nehemiah all the time. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you.